Okay, hi everyone. Myself Himanshu Dubey. So I'm a software developer at Dalgo, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So, uh, so today's webinar is co-hosted with Star Education. So I would like Arun to introduce himself. So he is from Star. Arun. Okay, so I don't think Arun is on the call. Okay, so let me start. So today we'll be this webinar is about Dalgo and the AI data analysis feature that we have on our platform. So basically we will be talking about briefly about Dalgo, and then we'll talk in detail about what this feature is. And then Arun will be talking about Star, and then he will be talking about the use case which led to the development of this feature. And in the end, I will give you a brief demo that how this feature actually works. So yeah, starting. Uh, so let's start with what is Dalgo. So most of you actually
அதாவது
know.
இது எல்லாமே வந்து ஒர்க் ஃப்ளோ சேஞ்ச்.
Hello. Yeah. So most of you already know what Dalgo as a platform is, but for those of you who don't know what Dalgo is, so Dalgo is the data platform for social impact. So earlier when we were working with the NGOs, so we noticed that these NGOs has had a lot of valuable data collected, but they struggled to make effective use of that data. So that was the point when the idea of Dalgo was conceived. So basically, we thought we should create a platform where we can get this data, and we should work upon this data and should get insights from this data. So these insights would help in making some data-driven decisions that NGOs can look, and then they can make these decisions. So that was the basic idea how this Dalgo platform was created. So Dalgo is basically an advanced ELT platform. So it can do data ingestion, data transformation, data quality checks. We have data analysis and data visualization. So all those things you can do in a single unified platform. So you don't have to jump from different platforms for data visualization, different platform for data analysis. We have just in a single platform, we have added all of this. So it becomes very easy and it becomes very user friendly to do all this in a single platform. Now, coming to the same problem that we face, that how to get data insights and how to visualize that data, and finally making data-driven decisions. So basically, we are using a tool, an open source tool, Apache Superset for that. So basically, it does all the data visualization. So you can create different charts, different bar graphs, and you can add all those charts to some dashboards. So you can create all these dashboards and you can visualize that data in front of you. So it becomes very easy when you see all those graphs in the dashboard, so you know what your data wants to convey. But recently we have been thinking about like making this step more like easier and user friendly. So yeah, so we have thought of making it more user friendly. So what we thought, since AI is in trend, so we should make a chat type of interface where a user can come and they can directly talk with their data. So we will connect their data to data source, and then the users can chat in English with their data source. So it's like that you're talking to some experienced team member who knows everything about the data they have in their warehouse. So it will become very easy and again very user friendly for those people who want to check and get some insights from their data. So this AI data analysis is the first steps toward it. So what we are doing, we are combining the SQL, and then we are combining the AI. So SQL is used to query your database. Then we are using the AI to analyze that data. So if I were to explain how this thing works, so I'll show you. So this is the interface which you can see. So you can see we have the SQL filter. So basically what SQL filter is doing, it is querying the specific data from your warehouse. So if your warehouse has many like columns, so you want that your AI, that you want that you should get specific data from that warehouse, and AI should work on or analyze the specific data set. So the analysis become very focused. You don't have to just send random data to AI. So you get very accurate results. So this is for this query block is for that. Then we have this custom prompt thing. So you can add custom prompts. So the data you have queried, and we are sending it to the AI. So you can instruct AI that what analysis do you want to do with that data that you sent to the AI. So it can be the analysis can be quantitative analysis or the qualitative analysis. So when it comes to qualitative analysis, you can just type in that I want to summarize this thing. So let's take an example. So if you have a data set which have data regarding different villages or districts, and it has some quantitative data and you have some qualitative data too. Suppose it can be different problems the village people are facing. Now it becomes very difficult when a person will analyze that data. You have to go row by row and you have to read the problems and then analyze, okay, this is the real problem. So instead of that, what you can do is you can just query that column from the warehouse and you can send it to the AI. So AI will do the analysis and you can just write in that, okay, what were the common causes of this problem which the villagers faced. So AI will do the analysis and it will generate the results, and you will have a like very accurate and very it will save a lot of time, and you will have all the analysis in front of you. Like here we are doing this, and since we are leveraging the AI, so we can like get one step further and ask for solutions also. So in this example, you can see I have added a prompt that suggests ways to help people feel better. So it's a suggestion that I want that AI should like provide us. So it is providing that suggestion to help people feel better. So it's a good thing. This is something we can start from that. Okay, we have something to solve, a solution to solve the problem. So this is basically what the data analysis is. The flow is very simple. The user interface is more simpler so that the people can come and they can directly use this. And in the end, I will show you a demo that how this thing actually works. And right now, if I want Arun to take over and he can talk about the actual case, the actual problem which they face. So Arun is from Stir NGO I mentioned earlier. So they faced the actual problem, and then we came up with this analysis feature. So that was the solution to. So let you and Raj know the riddle run. Okay, there's some disturbance, but yeah. So Arun, so Star Education faced that problem, and later on, he with Arun, and then we came up with this solution. So I want Arun to take over and talk about that.
Yeah. Thank you, Himanshu. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity, Tech for Dev team. I will very quickly run you through. I'll just give a basic introduction about the organization and the challenge that we faced and why we started working on this solution. So we are an organization who the mission is to work towards a world where teachers love teaching and students love learning. And the idea is to reignite intrinsic motivation of teachers. And we work at a system level. So we work at all levels of the system and mostly with government systems. We've been in operation since 2012 in three countries, India, Uganda, and Indonesia. And we also do a lot of amplification work. Amplification as in we also try to work with organizations that are already having interventions, and we try to help them with embedding the principles of intrinsic motivation so that the work can be amplified. I mean, the reach numbers are there to see, but again, the conversation is not about shared education, but just for you to get an idea of where we are coming from. So this is the kind of scale that we work at. With respect to the challenge that we were facing, when you say intrinsic motivation, right, it is a slightly difficult thing to measure and think of. And we have certain behavioral indicators. It is a behavior change intervention that we do. And data is collected at multiple levels. Let's say, for example, in the Indian context, we're talking about data at the state level, at the district level, at the block level, at the cluster level, even sometimes at the school level during classroom observations. So data is being collected on behavioral indicators at various levels and for various kinds of interventions. So the kinds of meetings that are happening. So it may be a teacher network meeting. It can be a coaching call that's happening. It may be an institute that's happening for higher level officials. So there are multiple kinds of meetings, and it is happening at every level. So you can imagine the number of different permutations, combinations that we have of the indicators. And apart from collecting the quantitative data, we also collect the qualitative data. So, as you are already aware, just quantitative information is good, but qualitative information can actually enrich the data that we have, right? So the solution that we already had is that we work with Dalgo. We have the data pipeline set up, and we were using Superset for our dashboarding, and Tech for Dev has helped us set up that. However, we have a process of ongoing monthly reflection meetings so that we can reflect on the data that we collect, and we plan our action forward. And we have several cuts. So, for example, country level, regional level, sub-region level discussions that happen. So each team will look at, and there are multiple teams, right? We have the program implementation team, we have the design team, and each one wants to look at the data in a slightly different way. And obviously, as NGOs, we also have donor presentations to make, and we also have to report to the board. And that happens at a certain frequency. Given all these requirements, the dashboard helps us look at the quantitative data. But the qualitative data is something that we had to analyze before the LLMs came in. I'm talking about pre-LLM, pre-ChatGPT and everything. We had to go through the data and we had to analyze it ourselves and then bring out what are the key strengths, what are the key areas for improvement, and any other rich information that comes from the field. However, when the LLMs like ChatGPT came in, it made things a little easier. So first step, we started copying the qualitative content into LLMs and give it a prompt so that we can collect some feedback from it, and we used that as part of the discussions. That way, it was helpful. However, like I said, there are so many permutations, combinations of presentations and discussions that take place. And each time, selecting a certain set of data, putting it into the LLM, getting the feedback, validating it, and bringing it back to the presentation, and then presenting it and discussing about it is a challenge. I'm pretty sure you can all relate to the problem that I'm talking about. And then if you're slightly more tech savvy, there are also APIs that we can integrate with ChatGPT, right? So that's something that we tried out. We were able to push some information to GPT through the APIs. We were able to get some responses, but it was still a manual process. It wasn't one step of the process was automated, but the rest of it we still had to do manually. So I think I've been able to explain the complexity of the issue that we were facing, which is why we now started working with Dalgo to say, hey, there's a lot of qualitative information we are collecting, but we are finding it difficult to synthesize this information to be in a presentable manner and to go back and forth to process this information, which is where we came to the solution. Can we move to the next slide, Himanshu?
Yeah.
Thank you. So the use cases, like I said, we had monthly data, which includes qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative data was a challenge before the LLMs, and even after the LLMs, it was difficult given the integrations and the multiple permutations combinations. And therefore, we worked with Dalgo for the solution. I think Himanshu was also demonstrating to a certain extent. But what actually happened, what started happening, is that we were able to make specific queries and specific like Himanshu was showing, right? We can filter out region-wise information. We just have to change the prompt slightly. All we had to do is, okay, instead of Uganda, give me data for India, or instead of Indonesia, give me data for Uganda, and any kind of query that we want. And the thing is, because it is working just on our data set as a limited thing, the scope for hallucinating also reduces, right? So because the data is the LLM is actually looking at only our database, the data that we've collected, the information is precise. There is no back and forth. So I don't have to copy the information from my data set, put it into an LLM, and then get the response, validate it, and then bring it back. This is built inside Dalgo itself, our ingestion system itself. And therefore, the process of taking it back and forth and filtering out the data is also cut out. I just need to change the prompt, right? Like I said, it could be region, it could be event. I just need to change the prompt slightly to get the kind of information that I want. It could be areas of improvement, it could be best practices that can be replicated, it could be solutions like Himanshu was saying. So all I had to do right now is, as long as I know which table the data is in, I just need to modify my prompt to get the inputs from there. And validating it is also pretty straightforward. There's no back and forth. That way, this has served to be a really important solution for us. We are yet to take it to scale. We haven't completely utilized it to the fullest extent, but we can definitely see the great potential it has. And what I see now is that the solution has also been extended to the quantitative data. So we specifically developed the solution because we found a challenge with qualitative information only. But I think Dalgo has gone and taken that a step further and included the same for quantitative data as well. So I think that also makes it a little easier for processing a lot of information. And this, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to the kind of challenges I'm talking about in terms of working in the development sector with a lot of data. There is no dependency now on a person, a technical person who will be able to use an LLM and get the necessary outputs from the by processing the data. The system does it for us. All we need to do is to give the right prompts. So that's basically the solution that we were able to develop in partnership with Dalgo, and we're quite happy that this has now been integrated into the product itself and has been rolled out. I think, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I think, Himanshu, you can take it from here to demonstrate the product itself.
Yeah, Arun, can I run the prompt and you can just give a brief intro?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So for demo, this is the query that our education is running. So these are the fields with qualitative data that star has, and they have developed a prompt which give their okay. So we have entered a SQL query here and we have added a prompt here. So now we have to just click the submit button. So it takes some time, but it gives you the analysis. So we'll wait for the analysis. Then Arun can just explain what their prompt was and what they wanted to analyze.
Yeah. So like Himanshu was saying, the first the part is the selecting the fields from the table, and that is something that the Dalgo team has helped us with. All our data is transformed. I mean, we collect data from a different tool, Survey CTO, and the data comes in a different format. It has now been ingested and transformed into a certain format. All that is taken care of by the Tech for Dev team, and now we know what we want, and the table has been pointed out by the team. So they've just selected the fields that are required for me to do the analysis. And right now, like I said, I wanted three areas of improvement and three best practices based on the data for a certain time period. Like I said, there are, let's say, close to about 50-60 observations that have been made for this period for this region, right? Uh, and this data now I don't have to go through the entire data to and filter out the region, the dates, and then look at the information and then put it in an LLM and get it. No, I just put the prompt directly here. It has gone to our database. It is processed and brought out the three best practices and the three areas for improvement from the data directly. And how this helps us is very much, for example, like if it is a monthly reflection meeting, I can just change the dates here and I'll extract the data for the previous month only. Or if it is a national level thing for Uganda, let's say instead of Indonesia, it's Uganda, I'll just change the name of the country and I'll get the data for that. All I'm doing is changing the prompt accordingly. The other thing is, for example, quarterly board presentations. Again, and I want it to be a global level, not just for one country. Then I will just filter out, I will just remove the country and I'll set it for the whole quarter and ask it to process it and I'll get the feedback for the entire quarter. So that way, as you can see, it is pretty straightforward. All I need to do is change the prompt a little and it goes to our database, processes it and brings out the solution, the thing that we are looking for. Anyway, even then, I would still go back to the data to do a check to make sure that all the content that the LLM has given is actually valid. Just a quick run through to validate the data, as always with any other LLM, right? So just go through it just once to validate it and then put it into the presentation. So this is how we are using it, and pretty straightforward. Hopefully it's clear.
Yeah, thank
Himanshu, there is a question on the chat. Can qualitative data format be showed as well?
In what format was it uploaded? So you
Yeah.
want to the format in which we upload the data to the OpenAI? Oh, so what we are doing is since so what we query the data, we create a file format. It's the markdown format, and then we have created some sort of like rows and columns which the OpenAI can understand, and then we upload the data. So then OpenAI can go through those rows, and then it creates the analysis that we want. Is that what you wanted, or you want to ask that in which format we can see the summary here?
Let me take this question.
Okay.
Nitisha, all the data is residing in the warehouse, the data warehouse that we have. Even the qualitative data that Arun and Himanshu are referring to is present in the tables in the data warehouse. So that is where we are fetching the data from. So when you see the SQL filter that has been applied, the SQL is doing the job of fetching those qualitative columns from the data warehouse. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, Nitisha, you can unmute.
Yeah, hi. So basically, I'm trying to figure out what is this what qualitative data is this, right? I understand this can be in a text file format or a file format, blob, something like that. But what data is it actually? Can I see this data somewhere based on which I can determine the accuracy of the best practices that have been reported on the screen?
Okay, so like I can show you a demo data that I have. So
Yes.
this demo data that I'm using. So these are the names of the person, and it's basically an office data. So we have this feelings field here, right? You can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these feeling fields are very subjective. Like users can, so in Google's form, suppose you have a field where you can enter this. So users can enter anything what they like. So it's a very subjective field. So these are the things we are sending to the OpenAI, and we are saying that this is the qualitative analysis. Because if you would do analysis of this, you have to go one by one and read and figure out, okay, this is the feeling, and that's the problem they are facing. So it becomes little difficult if you do it manually.
Right, got it. Thank you.
I think Deepa has some question. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Himanshu. Thank you so much. And this makes a lot of sense. And I see a good opportunity here in whatever you have shown till now. So I have a question. I'm working with qualitative data. So I'll give you an example. Like I have interview schedules, let's say of 30 people. Okay, interview responses.
Yeah.
So each person has attended 10 questions. So like it's an interview question where there are 10 questions and they have answered it. So I have a huge data of 30 people now from one state. So how can this technology that you're talking about, how can it help me? So do I have to put the data in the format, like for example, that you are showing right now, or how will it be useful for me? I'm trying to use softwares like NVivo or Atlas TI, but it's again a lot of human effort that is going in. So what you've presented me, it's showing me hopes. So can you help me there?
So you want so if I'm understanding correctly, so you want the analysis of the all 30 people at once, or you want?
So yes, so that is the next question. So let's say when I'm using your system for this, so do I analyze each interview individually, or can I do it all together? How will it be done? I'm a little overwhelmed right now to understand this.
Okay. So like it depends on the use case, right? So suppose
Okay.
want to analyze, okay, you have an interview. So I'll give you example. So if there is a feedback section, it's a feedback section. There we know that there are some common patterns that we identify from the feedback that in
Right.
you want to like group them. So it can be a negative, a positive, or some neutral type of grouping that you. So you can write a prompt you can add a prompt that I want to group the interview responses, and I want a frequency table that how was the interview, or how was the interviewer, or whatever you want. So it can analyze this thing. But if you want a specific like it would be difficult if you do like specific people's analysis if you want, because you will have a 30 responses from AI, right?
Yeah.
If you want to grow you have some field and you want to group that data, so then it's very easy, you can do it, because we
Can
have.
you help me? I have a little more doubt here again. So let's say if I'm asking one question about teachers' perception of successful students, okay? So it's one of the questions, and I have 30 responses for that. So can I analyze it that what all these 30 people are trying to say?
Yeah,
Because it's a
so
qualitative data.
yeah, it's a qualitative data. So you can analyze that data. You can get the common pattern in those uh,
Hmm.
those responses. So suppose, like again, so if you have some criteria that you want to group it, like
Okay.
some common problems and what are the common solutions you want. So you can just write that
Hmm.
prompt and query those fields, and like you can get the response under those specific headings. So that grouping criteria you should have in your mind. Then on,
Okay. So you mean the prompt that I need to decide, and rest analysis this thing can do.
yeah, I'll give you an example. So if you can see this data, right? So I have added this
Hmm.
feeling thing. So this feeling is something employee is facing. So whether
Hmm.
his work is very easy to do, or what are the difficult tasks, or how he felt during the month, like this. So everyone will have a different answer, right? But there will be some common patterns in it. Like someone might feel positive, someone might feel negative. So we can group that. So if I'll show you the analysis that we did. Okay, so I'm doing this. Okay, I'll show you another prompt that I created. So these are the group feeling. So from each and every response, I have huh. So from each and every response, I have classified some common patterns that we face. Like frustration was there, exhaustion was there, pride was
Hmm.
there. So we can
Okay.
like based on the departments, we can check like what were the common feelings that people felt. So we don't have to read all these entries
Right.
that
Statements.
yeah, you
Hmm.
can just go to C and see, okay, support has frustration, exhaustion, pride, and you can go, okay, marketing has only four fields, frustration, exhaustion, pride, overwhelm. So you have an idea, okay, this was the problem. So you can then analyze that. So we have to group it somehow, because for each and
Okay.
every person you will analyze again and you will have 30 responses again. So it doesn't make any sense, right?
Okay, last question. In which format, like my transcripts are in Word document.
Mhm.
So can your system or this interface can help me with that, or do I need to enter it into Excel sheet and only then this can help? So how will it be?
So first of all, this is integrated in our platform, in our Dalgo platform. So first of all, you have to add it as a source here. So
Okay.
edit it as source, and then you have added it to your warehouse. So we are fetching this data from the warehouse. So the warehouse can be BigQuery, or the warehouse can be like BigQuery or Postgres or Snowflake that we support right now. So you can put that, you can put your data there, and from there we are using this. We are taking, or we are querying this data thing.
So what I'm understanding is that I have the Word document and I can send it to you, and this can be presented from the your warehouse will work on that, right?
Yeah. Again, I'll show you an example. So this is the warehouse, right? This is the
Hmm.
warehouse. We have created a source. This was the
Okay.
webinar thing that I
Hmm.
showed you, that then I have created another connection, and it transfers data from the source to the warehouse. So you can see
Okay.
this is the source, this is the warehouse. And this data analysis feature now is querying the warehouse. So your source and your data, your warehouse has the same data, almost same data.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thanks. So anyone else has any question? Oh, I think people are posting questions on the chat. Okay, Shana. Yeah. So anyone else? Okay, so I can give you a demo of. So I have gave, but I want to give a demo on this mock data set. So it will give you a broad idea. So again, while explaining, while answering to Deepa, I already explained what this data set was and how we were using it. So again, I can explain. So this is a data set of the employees we got. So there are some quantitative data and there is some qualitative data. So every data set will have such things, right? So when it comes to, so what we are doing is in Dalgo, I told you that we do data ingestion, we do data transformation, then we have these data visualization through the superset. We create all the dashboard and we add all the graphs so you can visualize the data. So, but we want to make it more user friendly. So what you do is you can just write the question, the query here, and you can write the prompt. So for the same data set, I did a qualitative analysis that analyzed the filling column. So this was the, you can specify the column. This is the column. So analyze the filling column to identify recurring issues. What were the recurring issues that employees felt, and summarize these challenges and provide tailored recommendations. So we can leverage AI to get some solution on that also. And then I just click on this submit button. So what happened was I got the response. So by department wise, it gave me like what challenges the employees were facing, and also the recommendations with it, that how we can deal with those problems. So if you go to the support department, we have this, then this was the IT department, and then for every department we have recommendations and this. So it becomes very easy to analyze data from here. And if you want to do some analysis on the quantitative data, so again, I had this query. I had one prompt. I wanted to analyze the performance ratings and by department wise, and I wanted to identify the highest and the lowest performing departments. So you can just write this prompt and you can get the answer here. So in the HR department, the highest rating was 5, the average rating was this, and other ratings, and you can get a beautiful, like, it's very easy to read, right? And also you can specify in which format you want. So right now, what we do is we support the tabular format, and we support in bullet points, or we support as a paragraph only summarization. But you can get it into these formats, and these are very readable formats. So this is basically what the feature actually is. And in future, we are in future. So we have, so this was the first stage of creating this an AI data analysis feature. When we are experimenting with different AI tools and models. So for example, we are experimenting with the LangChain. We are experimenting with Vana AI. So by this, right now so right now, what is the problem? So if you have created this, right? So you can save the summary. So it will be, if you find a summary useful, you can save it and you can just access it again from here. So this is just one time getting that summary. So what we want is we want to create a chat interface. So you can just keep on chatting. If you are not getting a satisfactory answer, you can again just type in the next prompt or the next question that I want some tailored output from this data. And it will like you use chat GPT, and you can just maintain a one session, and you can keep on asking the questions. So you can do the same thing here. So we are experimenting with that. So yeah, so hopefully we'll come up with a better interface, and it's planned for future. But yeah, I really want to like you to use this feature and explore your data. So this was the AI data analysis thing. So anyone has any question, you can. Yeah, Kashish.
Yeah, Himanshu. So you showed that you have a Google Sheet where you have some data and you have linked that Google Sheet to your Postgres database. So is that combination basically lasts permanent, or is it a temporary connection that you are making for querying only?
Oh, so I told, so
So let's
Dalgo. Huh.
yeah,
Okay.
so let's say if I have some data that I just want to get analyzed, so I don't have that data in my database, or let's say in Google Sheet only, so I want that to be analyzed but not to be integrated with the database permanently. So
Right.
how does that happen here?
So right now that you can't do here, because
Okay.
this data analysis is a feature of this Dalgo platform.
Hmm.
So, and the when I talk the Dalgo platform, we are talking about the whole advanced ELT platform. Like you have to ingest your data, you can do the transformation, and then add the data to the warehouse. So that's the process that we are following. So it's a part of this process only.
Yes, correct, correct.
So it gets permanently added then
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
it's
Now
database.
everything is in your hands.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The warehouse is your warehouse. Nothing is with us. So we don't keep your data. So this warehouse that we add is the client warehouse. So there's full data privacy. Yeah. So Anyone else has any question?
Hi, I just want to ask you to repeat the last point that you mentioned about data privacy.
Oh, yeah. So what we do is, so we do data ingestion, data transformation, and data loading. So this data ingestion, this data loading happens to a warehouse, right? So we have some source. Suppose you are a client and you have some data source, and you want to load that data into a warehouse. So this warehouse is your warehouse. So when we create an org on our platform, so we ask you to provide your warehouse. So it always the data remain with you. We are just adding the warehouse here. So the data warehouse is with you, the data source is with you. You have to just you have to just make a connection between them. And after that when you click on the sync button, so the data will be copied or moved through from your source to the warehouse. So to show you better, I can, so suppose this is the source that I'm using, right? And I have another, uh, you can see this is the table. So this is the sheet one warehouse that, this is the table, this is the warehouse I'm using. So I have just connected the source and the warehouse. So both are with you. So there is full data privacy. So we don't have anything to do with your data. So I hope it answers.
Hi, Himanshu. Actually, I want to know. I'm Rajnath Prasad. So I want to know. So are it is able to fetch data from the multiple tables, just like you when you using the or running the queries,
Mhm.
it is depend on the SQL queries.
Yeah.
So join is also is a part. So are it is able to fetch the data from the multiple tables?
Yeah, you can do. So you can run the, like as you do, as you write a SQL query, now you can write the same SQL query here in
Okay.
different, you can join different tables. You can create a complete data set by getting data from different tables, and then you can send that data to OpenAI. So it supports everything.
Okay. So also I am saying here it is in the background it is a table which is running in Excel. So how many format it is supported to fetch the data from in the Excel or load the just in the beginning you are showing ELT process.
Yeah.
So how many format it is supported for to export the data? So just
Okay.
like I am working on the Power BI, so I am not promoting here, but in that in this case, I am able to fetch the data from the PDF.
Mhm.
So if I am fetching the data in the PDF, it is automatically go into and save in the my particular data set and particular indicator. Also, there I am also able to link the data uh, uh, as you I can say I say that this is a user friendly. I am link the data or correlate the data or using the data modeling through visualization. So it is so easy. So because of that, so when I am getting some information or fetching the data first, so my work is it is upload in the database.
Right.
So after that, I should know the query of the SQL. Then after I am fetching the data particular those data which we need or organization need.
Right.
So I think these two type of things. So if I am not able to fetch that data from the some other formats like Word or Excel, so I think the quantitative data. I think this is just because use I say that the AI is a different because when I am providing those data, he is filtering those things. So which is a better? This is the working of the AI. So it is worked correctly, fine. But behind this, uh, uh, the data or data source which I provide, so I have multiple type of formats.
Yeah.
So
So
this is the
yeah, I'll answer. So if you are talking about the source from the SQL query is running, where the SQL query is running, and we are getting those fields and then creating a file link to OpenAI. So it's always the warehouse from where the SQL is querying the data.
right, right.
This warehouse can be like different. It can be different. It can be Postgres. It can be BigQuery.
Runner posted just SQL, right?
And when it comes to source like this or adding the source, so we have
Okay.
different list of these sources. So whatever source you want, see, it's a huge list. You want Excel, you want docs, you want some MongoDB, Postgres database, you want Kobo toolbox. So resources has been provided on the Dalgo platform. Very easy. Also, if there is some source that you don't have, so we can create the custom connectors also. So if there is some connector that is not present here, we can just create it and we can use the platform. We
Right.
have some NGOs. So yeah.
Okay, right, great. So thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else has any question? I think people are asking questions in the chat box, right? Okay. And regarding this SQL query, so right now you have to write a SQL query, but in the future, when we'll create a chat interface, then you don't have to write the SQL query also. You have to just ask question to database. Okay, give me this data and find this data and analyze it. So it will do everything. You don't have to mention the query also. So in next version, it will become more efficient and more user friendly. So we can take up, okay, your question. So anyone else has any question regarding the platform or regarding the feature?
Yeah, Mahalakshmi here. Just curious to know about the technical approach used in the backend. So you are directly calling the OpenAI with the data, or you're doing some fine tuning or RAG on the model that you already are using?
So we are using the OpenAI's file agent.
Okay.
And so we are creating a file. So we are querying the data, we are creating a file. And then we are
Okay.
file to the file agent, and it is doing the analysis. And then we are.
Okay. Yeah. So generally, when sending the requests or when fetching the responses, I face token limitations, etc. So in OpenAI, maybe since you're using a paid one, such limitations are not there, is it?
You want to talk about the limitations of the data we are sending, the amount of data?
Yes, limitations of the amount of data or limitations of the amount of response that OpenAI can respond with.
So right now we are limited to 500 rows. So we only send the first 500 rows, or the limited rows are 500. So that we
Okay,
are,
okay.
but the problem is that the tokens are being used when we are creating these summaries, right? So
Right.
so if you want, we can increase this limit, but the tokens will be used. More tokens will be used. So that's why right now we have limited it to this only.
Okay, okay.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to add something here. I think Mahalakshmi, you pointed it out correctly. This is a
Okay.
limitation right now, but our next
Okay.
versions we are focusing on not sending any data to OpenAI. So if you have
Okay.
millions and millions of row, we'll try to figure out a probably like a text to SQL way and then try to analyze your response. So yeah, we're working on that.
Okay. So how are you planning to do that? By maybe this discussion is technical, not sure if it's apt for here, all the audience, but just curious to know you are planning to develop your own tuned LLM in order to do that, is it?
No, we're trying out different open source tools, trying to
Okay.
integrate them rather than reinventing the wheel because I think many teams, like even I think Ask a Metric is another GitHub repo that
Okay.
does this. So we're trying
Okay.
out different tools and then we'll see what best integrates with what best fits for us and we'll integrate that into Dalgo.
Sure. Okay, got it. Thank you.
I have a question and in fact more of a little elaboration if you can help me with Ishan or Himanshu, anyone. Can I ask?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have asked my question earlier. So just to give it overall a wrap up. So I'm just telling you what is in my head. So I want to visualize that I have my qualitative data. It is in the Word document. And let's say I have 20 interviews with me. Of 20 interviews means 20 interviews of the people. So when I send the data to you, So I'll be sending those transcripts as it is, and then that ingest part, and then your data warehouse will do rest of the things, right? Till the analysis where I have to give the prompts. Is that the steps that you
So
will be following? Is this how?
So the first step is adding the source, then we'll adding like making a connection, adding those data to the warehouse. So we are just copying that data to the warehouse. Then we are doing a transformation thing. So this transformation is basically you are running some SQL queries and doing some data quality checks, and then you are making a clean data. So that data is being used for the analysis. So the data you have is a raw data, maybe
Yeah.
some fields, there may be some boolean field which might have like a string field. So all this thing will be done all this thing will be taken care of when we do the data quality check, and then a clean data set will be used for the for this analysis.
Okay, so my work starts by sending the documents to you, whether it's Word or PDF, and then later when I want to analyze, right? In between the tasks that your team will be doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, I would like to add that in the set we have recently launched the settings panel. So we have this AI settings panel. So an account manager can enable or disable the feature for the whole org. So if this feature is not kind of enabled for the org, so let's consider this is a different user. He will come to the feature and he will get this note, this dialog box that this feature is right now deactivated. You have to you have to request your account manager to enable this feature. So they can just click here. A notification will be sent, and if I go here, the account manager will have a notification that someone in the org is asking to enable this feature. So then he can just go to the AI settings and he can enable the feature. So this is the disclaimer that we show to the account managers and also to the users that this content is being generated by artificial intelligence model and etc. This, then if they click OK, so we have now enabled the feature. If I go here, now they can use the feature. So now they can use the feature. So we have role-based access control also in our platform. So this one is the account manager role, and this is a analyst role. So analyst can't just they don't have the permission to enable or disable the feature. Yeah, so the account managers can do that. So this is the check we have added, and yeah, rest process is same. They can just create a summary. Any other questions? So I don't think people have any questions now.
Himanshu, we would like to open a poll here at this moment quickly and then close.
Okay.
Please take a moment to respond to these questions that you see on your window. We would like to get inputs from you and to see if we need a follow-up discussion.
I think Prashant has the last question that wasn't answered yet. Prashant, if you are done filling out the feedback form, maybe you want to just unmute and like try to explain that question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the workshop. This is really useful. Basically, I work with a lot of NGOs and they have been wondering, how to use AI for data analysis. So the context I'm in is whether now most of them might not have very tech savvy IT people, but they will have someone like a IT admin. I mean, they're not technical, but tech savvy. So is there any way that either you directly or I can be the training person who can, give them more such workshops so that they can be really using this effectively? Sorry, does that make sense?
Yeah, so you want uh, to train them in some way, or you want such webinars to?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like whatever that one NGO use case you mentioned, so they did it perhaps with your help. Now, if there are more NGOs, then your own team can be hand-holding, or basically the other NGOs that I've been working with over the past few years, like I could kind of say this is an option, and then they can just dive in. And like one of the questions was, can they use their own open AI API key? So we can get the NGO to get onto the open API paid account, and then they use this platform. So the training is the question. Like, I will definitely dabble in and see if I can do something with any of the public data set. But if you're doing any formal workshop where it is hands-on, then that would be great.
Hey Prashant, just to answer your question, I think this might be a separate conversation, and we would love to connect with you, after this webinar. We'll put down our information here, and so we do consult with NGOs on helping them solve various problems, and we'll have to understand what kind of help the NGOs you work with need. So let's try to connect maybe sometime early next week, and we can try to figure out what exactly do you want. Currently, we don't have the ability for users to add their OpenAI keys. But yeah, let's have a separate conversation on this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks, Alok. So thank you for joining the webinar.
I think we can close the call, Himanshu.
Okay.
Yeah.